In the last 60 years, marriage has all but disappeared in poor, especially black communities. In many cases, single mothers and or welfare mothers with boyfriends who are known as, quote, visiting daddies, have replaced the man of the house. No one comes home from work. Protection for the children and nurturing are often casualties in this sea of dysfunctional family units. New studies bring new bad news. The already dire situation of young black men in the United States has worsened. Recent studies have found that employment and education statistics have gotten even worse, despite improvements in the economy. A huge pool of poorly educated young black men looms as a social and economic fact in America's present and future. Perhaps, as a nation, we are in denial as the threat grows. Or perhaps my guests can explain it. My guests are Dr. Ronald Mincy, a professor of social policy and social work practice at Columbia University's School of Social Work and editor of Black Males Left Behind, and Dr. Harry Holzer, a professor and associate dean of public policy at Georgetown University and co-author of Reconnecting Disadvantaged Young Men. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
You've heard the remarks I made, which I got from media and from studies and from works that you have been kind enough to share with me. In particular, you, Dr. Mincy, you are prodigious, I think, in your world, they would say, at turning out this material. You and I spoke in the past, recent past, and things were bad. How do you characterize where things are now compared to where things were when you and I talked last?
Well, the only way one could characterize them is that they have deteriorated in some substantial ways, especially because the economic climate that we had in the 90s should have given us much better news to talk about. And because over the 90s, the economic experience of young, less educated black women improved quite substantially.
That's a big thing.
That's a big thing.
The poorly educated, young, poor black women made gains.
Yes.
During the same period, with an economic boom at everyone's back, pushing. At the same time, young black men fell off the wagon almost.
Yes. And I think that's the real crux of the story. But I think it's important to acknowledge that in addition to a booming economy, young, less educated black women had a public policy that required them to work and that enabled them to do so by providing substantial work supports.
This is welfare reform.
This is welfare reform, which is one of the greatest social welfare policy successes in recent memory and certainly in my career. And so I think the combination of a strong economy, a set of policies that required them to work, and $50 billion in expenditures to enable them to do so really turned the corner for for young, less educated African American women.
Now with young, uneducated